Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Sunday, the first day of February. Here we go. Let's say somehow it happens that a doctor or a nurse is needed by a person on Shabbos, and that doctor or nurse helps a person with a whole bunch of medical stuff that they do for them on that Shabbos. And then, if it wasn't a favor and the person, the doctor or nurse, is expecting to be paid, and they're from, we run into the question of whether or not that doctor or nurse is allowed to be paid for the services that they rendered for that other person on Shabbos. There are people who, of course, choose to do this for free. Somebody fainted in shul, doctor rushes over, revives them, and says, no, I don't want to be paid. But in other circumstances, for whatever reason, they do want to be paid, and it was, expected. And so, but what can you do? Can you take payment for doing a medical service for someone on Shabbos? So generally, you should know that the general rule to these kinds of things is that that's called schar Shabbos, but stay tuned to the end, that that's called earning money on Shabbos, and the rabbis decreed that we not get schar Shabbos, pay for stuff that we do on Shabbos, and even if all the work that you did was totally permissible, all you did was look inside of their ear or something and, nothing that prohibited was done, still it's reward for stuff that you do on Shabbos, and the rabbis made a general decree against doing business on Shabbos, and this kind of falls under that decree, and therefore it's, but stay tuned, there's more, and therefore generally we say that people shouldn't be paid for work that they do on Shabbos. For example, you can't pay a babysitter for babysitting that they do on Shabbos. You can't pay a waiter for waiting that they do on Shabbos. And I know you've all seen this done, so stay tuned. We'll talk about how that's done also. But generally, you're not supposed to get reward for stuff that you do on Shabbos. So, therefore, it would seem so far in our discussion that the babysitter shouldn't take pay, the waiter shouldn't take pay, the doctor and nurse shouldn't take pay. Now, some poskim, there are quite a few of them, who say that for a doctor or nurse doing a medical something, it's more permissible for them to take pay, and they give two reasons. First of all, they say, look, it was a decree that the rabbis made to discourage business being done on Shabbos. So the rabbis put that decree wherever they wanted to put the decree, and they didn't necessarily want to put the decree on medical things because they may feel that they want people to be able to do that to help fellow Jews who need medical care on Shabbos. That's one reason that the decree, although it exists, maybe the rabbis didn't put it on medical proceedings, so they might be able to take money. Secondly, the rabbis felt that if they were to tell people that they can't be paid for it, then it's possible that a doctor or a nurse would hesitate from doing some medical care on Shabbos, and we don't want that hesitation. And that's another reason why perhaps it's more permissible to pay a doctor or a nurse for work done on Shabbos rather than pay a waiter or a babysitter for work done on Shabbos. Still, you should just know that a lot of poskim don't like the idea of paying a doctor or a nurse either, and a lot of them say that no siman bracha will come from the money. In other words, you technically could take the money, but you won't see any blessing come from the money that you receive from such proceedings, and therefore they don't allow you to do that. But here's the piece I wanted you to all stay tuned for, which I hope you're still in for, which is for the doctor and nurse, and you can use this for the waiter and the babysitter also on Shabbos. The doctor can schedule a follow-up visit to see the person in the middle of the week and have a lump sum payment which covers swallowed up kind of both visits, the Shabbos one and the weekday visit, and just call the big payment for the weekday visit, and that's called like you swallowed it up in the weekday payment, and that's totally permissible if you arrange it that way. That is also how caterers pay their waiters, and some people pay for their babysitters for other work that they had done, like loading the truck of the catering before or after Shabbos, or that babysitter for the other time that they came over. And when you have it swallowed up like that in a weekday payment, then it's okay to do this with the doctor and or the nurse and or the babysitter and or the waiter. So thanks for staying tuned till the end. When arranged in that fashion, that's the best way to make sure that it's all kosher and proper and everything. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.